What if your reality isn't fixed at all? What if every version of your life already exists? Every success, every failure, every dream, and the only thing stopping you from living the life you want is learning how to choose it. Today, we're diving into Reality, Transurfing by Vadim Zeland, one of the most intriguing and unconventional guides to shaping your destiny. Unlike traditional self-help, this book doesn't tell you to change yourself. Instead, it shows you how to navigate reality itself. Let's break it down chapter by chapter and uncover how transurfing works. Zeland opens with a radical idea. Most methods of self-improvement burden us with exercises, soul-searching, or meditation. Transurfing is different. It doesn't ask you to become someone else. It reminds you that you already have the freedom to choose the reality you want. Reality, he explains, is like a mirror. You don't fight the reflection. You change the image you project. With that framework in mind, the book introduces us to the alternative space, the foundation of transurfing. Chapter 1. The Alternatives Model. Zeland begins with one of the most fundamental pillars of transurfing, the alternative space. This concept suggests that reality is not a single, linear path, but an infinite field of possibilities where every outcome, every choice, and every version of your life already exists. Imagine a vast cosmic archive, a kind of universal library that stores every script of existence, past, present, and future. Each script, or lifeline, holds a unique chain of events, and which one you experience depends largely on your focus and thought energy. Your thoughts, Zeland explains, radiate energy much like radio waves. These waves resonate with specific sectors of the alternative space. When you continuously think in a certain way, be it positive, negative, fearful, or joyful, you align yourself with the corresponding lifeline. In simpler terms, you get what you choose, not because you build it from scratch, but because your thoughts tune into that version of reality. But here's the twist. Dreams and desires alone don't manifest. A dream is passive. It carries no weight. A wish is just a longing. But a choice is active, decisive, and paired with intention. The alternatives model tells us that to shift into the reality you want, you must go beyond wishing. You must choose with clarity, stop battling your current reflection, and redirect your energy to a new script. This reframes life completely. Instead of constantly fighting obstacles or forcing change, you recognize that everything already exists. You simply need to step into the version that aligns with your choice. Chapter 2. Pendulums. The second chapter introduces a subtle but powerful force. Pendulums. These are energetic structures born whenever groups of people think and act in the same way. A pendulum can be as small as a sports fan club or as vast as a political ideology, religion, or global movement. Over time, these pendulums take on a life of their own, feeding on the energy of their adherents. The danger lies in how pendulums sustain themselves. They don't care whether your energy is positive or negative, only that you feed them. Arguing passionately for or against a political party, obsessing over celebrity culture, or even stressing over societal expectations. All of these strengthen the pendulum. It thrives on conflict, competition, and extremes. Pendulums are inherently destructive when they rob individuals of their independence. They push people away from their authentic path, forcing them into rigid scripts that serve the pendulum's survival. Think of how nationalism can fuel wars, or how corporate systems can consume lives without concern for individual well-being. How do you escape their grip? Zeland offers a radical solution. Don't fight the pendulum. Resistance still feeds it with your energy. Instead, recognize it, sidestep it, and redirect your energy elsewhere. Ignore the provocation, and the pendulum loses power over you. By refusing to engage, you reclaim freedom to choose your own lifeline rather than being pulled into one dictated by collective structures. Chapter 3. The Wave of Fortune. After exploring destructive pendulums, Zeland shifts our attention to a more uplifting force, the wave of fortune. Just as negativity clusters together, positive events can form chains of good fortune. You've likely experienced this. One small success leads to another, and suddenly life feels as if it's carrying you effortlessly forward. The wave of fortune is a flow of favorable circumstances that builds momentum when you focus on the positive. By appreciating small victories and noticing opportunities, you align with lifelines where more good things naturally cluster. This isn't about blind optimism. It's about tuning your attention to what uplifts you and ignoring what drags you down. Zeland's advice here is simple. Don't dwell on failures or negative events, because that only locks you into lifelines filled with more of the same. Instead, catch the first hint of a favorable wave and ride it. The more you feed it with gratitude and awareness, the stronger it grows. Chapter 4. Balance. The universe, according to Zeland, always seeks balance. Anytime we create excess potential, meaning an exaggerated emotional charge around something, we trigger balancing forces that push back. For example, when you idolize wealth, fear losing love, or obsess over perfection, you inflate importance. This excess potential distorts the energetic field, and reality responds by neutralizing it, often in unpleasant ways. Think of someone desperately chasing success. Their anxiety and overimportance create obstacles and setbacks. Or consider relationships. When one partner clings too tightly, the other often pulls away. This isn't random, it's balance restoring itself. The solution is to lower importance. Treat goals lightly, without desperation. Care but don't cling. Value outcomes, but don't worship them. When you stop overloading situations with emotional weight, you prevent balancing forces from sabotaging you. Life then flows more smoothly, and goals become easier to achieve. Chapter 5. The Induced Transition. Here Zeland warns us about how destructive lifelines can pull people in. He calls this process an induced transition. When collective fear, anger, or despair spreads, individuals tune into destructive alternatives. Wars, economic crises, epidemics, all are fueled by pendulums manipulating masses into fear-driven choices. For example, constant media focus on fear of poverty or disaster can lead entire societies to unconsciously step into those very realities. On an individual level, obsessing over potential misfortune tunes you into lifelines where misfortune is more likely. The antidote? Awareness and refusal to participate. Don't let yourself be swept up in collective hysteria. Instead of resisting or fearing negative events, simply refuse to feed them with your energy. When you choose calmness and detachment, you avoid slipping into destructive transitions. Chapter 6. The Alternatives Flow. If Chapter 5 shows us what happens when we resist reality, Chapter 6 teaches us how to move with it. The alternatives flow is the natural path where life unfolds with minimal resistance. The easiest way to reach your goals is not by forcing outcomes, but by following the flow already laid out in the alternative space. The challenge is learning to recognize flow. Life often gives subtle signs, a sudden opportunity, an unexpected encounter, or a situation that feels natural and effortless. Conversely, when everything feels like a struggle, it's often a sign you're pushing against the current. Zeland advises cultivating sensitivity to these guiding signs. Instead of rigidly sticking to your plans, remain flexible and observe it. When you trust the flow and let go of control, life often takes you to outcomes better than anything you could have forced through sheer will. Chapter 7. Intention. One of the most critical concepts in transurfing is intention. Zeland makes a sharp distinction between desire and intention. Desires are passive. They leave you hoping and waiting. Intention, however, is active. It's the inner decision to move toward your goal, as if it's already yours. There are two types of intention. Inner intention, using personal willpower to push outcomes. This is limited and often exhausting. Outer intention, aligning yourself with the universe so that reality itself works in your favor. This is powerful and often feels effortless. Outer intention is like setting a sail and letting the wind carry you forward. But to access it, You must clearly know what you want, reduce importance, and move with confidence as if the goal is already part of your life. Zeland suggests that the world conspires with you when you choose firmly and calmly, rather than desperately wishing. Chapter 8. Slides. Slides are mental constructs, inner images or illusions that shape how you perceive reality. Negative slides distort reality, such as seeing yourself as a failure or believing the world is hostile. These attract lifelines that reflect those assumptions. Positive slides, on the other hand, expand your comfort zone and open new possibilities. Visualization plays a vital role here, but Zeland cautions against focusing only on the end result. Instead, he encourages visualizing both the goal and the process. Picture yourself not only enjoying the result, but also confidently moving through the steps that lead to it. This creates alignment between your current reality and your chosen reality, making the transition smoother. Slides, when used consciously, become tools for reshaping your self-image and tuning into better lifelines. Chapter 9. The Heart and Mind. In this chapter, Zeland highlights the importance of unity between heart and mind. The mind is analytical, logical, and calculating. The heart, however, knows intuitively and feels truth directly. Often, the two are at odds. The heart longs for one thing, while the mind insists on another. Real power comes when the heart and mind work together. When your logical reasoning aligns with your heartfelt desires, your intention gains tremendous strength. This unity opens doors that logic alone could never unlock. Zeland calls this state the wind of intention. When your hearts sail and your mind's rudder work in harmony, you glide smoothly toward your chosen reality. The practical lesson here is to listen to both sides. Don't ignore the heart's whispers in favor of pure logic, nor abandon reason for blind passion. Balance them, and your choices gain extraordinary effectiveness. Chapter 10. Goals and Doors. In this chapter, Zeland makes a bold claim. Not all goals are truly yours. Many of the ambitions people chase are actually borrowed from society, family, culture, or pendulums. For example, the pressure to get a prestigious career, buy a certain type of house, or pursue an idealized relationship may not come from your heart, but from external expectations. These borrowed goals drain energy because deep down they don't resonate with who you are. The real task is to identify your authentic goals, those that make your heart come alive. Zeland emphasizes that when you align with genuine goals, life opens doors for you. These doors are opportunities that appear naturally, almost effortlessly, guiding you toward fulfillment. If you have to force and struggle endlessly, it's often a sign you're chasing the wrong goal. True goals are accompanied by inspiration and synchronicity. In other words, when the goal is yours, the doors open. When the goal is borrowed, the path feels like a battle. To find your goals, listen closely to your heart. It communicates quietly, through inner peace, joy, and enthusiasm. Once you choose the right goal, doors appear, sometimes subtle, sometimes obvious. Trust them, walk through them, and you'll find yourself on a lifeline where your goals unfold more easily. Chapter 11. Energy. Energy is the fuel that powers intention. Without sufficient energy, even the clearest goals can't be realized. Zeland explains that much of our energy is wasted on worry, stress, resentment, or feeding pendulums. These leaks drain us and leave us too depleted to manifest anything meaningful. He distinguishes between different levels of energy. When your energy is low, life feels heavy, and you are vulnerable to manipulation. When your energy is high, you experience clarity, confidence, and resilience. Protecting your energy is therefore crucial. Zeland introduces the idea of energy vampires, people or systems that feed off your emotional reactions. Arguments, resentment, and guilt are all ways your energy is siphoned away. The solution is awareness. Don't give in to provocation. Don't allow yourself to be dragged into dramas that cost you energy without benefit. Raising your energy involves relaxation, balance, self-care, and learning to let go of unnecessary importance. When your energy is stable and abundant, your intentions manifest more easily because you have the strength to sustain them. Chapter 12. Frailing. Frailing is Zeland's unique concept for relationships. At its core, it means aligning with what others truly want instead of forcing your own agenda. Most people approach relationships with self-interest, trying to get others to behave in ways that serve them. This creates conflict and resistance. Frailing reverses this dynamic. Instead of asking, "What can I get from this person?" ask, "What does this person truly want, and how can I align with that?" By helping others achieve their goals and desires, you create harmony and win natural cooperation. In return, your own path becomes smoother. Zeland emphasizes that frailing isn't about manipulation or self-sacrifice. It's about genuine alignment, seeing the world through the other person's perspective. When applied sincerely, frailing transforms relationships, whether in work, family, or romance. Conflicts dissolve, partnerships thrive, and mutual benefit becomes the foundation. Chapter 13. Coordination. Coordination is the practice of neutralizing negativity by shifting your response. Zeland points out that negative events themselves don't ruin us. It's our resistance to them that causes the greatest damage. When we meet difficulties with anger, fear, or despair, we feed negative pendulums and strengthen obstacles. Instead, coordination invites you to calmly accept what happens and redirect your energy. If something goes wrong, see it not as a disaster, but as a sign or an opportunity. Often, what feels like a setback is actually guiding you toward a better lifeline. By maintaining inner calm and refusing to overreact, you avoid amplifying negativity and keep the flow working in your favor. This principle is powerful because it turns obstacles into allies. Instead of letting difficulties knock you off balance, coordination helps you use them as stepping stones toward your goals. Chapter 14. Forward to the past. In this chapter, Zeland explores how we can change our present by reinterpreting the past. He suggests that much of our suffering comes from how we hold onto negative interpretations of past events. Old failures, regrets, or traumas continue to drain energy, locking us into undesirable lifelines. But here's the insight. You cannot change the past event, but you can change your relationship to it. By reframing the meaning of past experiences, seeing them as lessons, stepping stones, or even necessary detours, you free yourself from their grip. This process is like moving forward into the past, using reinterpretation as a tool to clear the present. When you heal your perspective on the past, you release energy, dissolve limitations, and open pathways to brighter alternatives in the present and future. Chapter 15. Letters from the Past. This chapter is a collection of insights showing how old patterns often repeat when we remain unconscious. Zeland explains that if you don't change your thoughts and choices, you stay stuck on the same lifelines, reliving variations of the same struggles, be it bad luck, toxic relationships, or recurring failures. The way out is to stop inflating importance. Importance creates imbalance, which invites problems. If you constantly exaggerate the significance of success, love, or recognition, you set yourself up for disappointment. By lowering importance, you break the cycle of inversion, where reality gives you the opposite of what you desperately crave. Zeland's lesson here is clear. Don't cling to the past or obsess over it. Recognize patterns, let them go, and make new choices that align with harmony rather than tension. Chapter 16. Dances with Shadows. Zeland here examines the origin of bad luck. He explains that when you believe the world is against you, you unconsciously feed pendulums of negativity. Every thought of resentment, every complaint, every fearful expectation is like adding fuel to a destructive system. This creates what he calls shadows, patterns of misfortune that follow you because you continually energize them. The law of bad luck isn't mystical. It's simply the energetic result of repeatedly focusing on the negative. The escape is surprisingly simple. Stop dancing with shadows. Refuse to feed negativity. When bad things happen, don't dwell, complain, or curse your fate. Instead, redirect your energy toward balance and positivity. When you stop energizing shadows, they dissolve and life stabilizes. What once felt like constant bad luck is revealed to be a reflection of your focus. Chapter 17. The Dreams of the Gods. This chapter explores a mystical idea. Reality itself is like a dream. Just as we dream at night without realizing it, we live inside a larger dream during waking life. In this dream, we are both participants and creators. Zeland explains that most people live as if trapped in a script written by others. But transurfing allows us to become lucid within the dream of reality. When you awaken to your ability to choose, you stop being a passive character and start being a co-author. The metaphor of the dreams of the gods reminds us that we're not merely spectators in life. We are divine participants. Reality is malleable, and by recognizing the dreamlike nature of existence, you gain the freedom to consciously shape it. Chapter 18. The Mirror World. Here, Zeland deepens the metaphor of reality as a mirror. The world reflects your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes back to you. But unlike a glass mirror, reality has a delay. This is why your intentions don't manifest instantly. It takes time for the mirror to adjust. The danger is impatience. Many people give up before the reflection changes, assuming their choices don't matter. But persistence is essential. Keep choosing, keep focusing, and eventually the world reflects it back. Doubt and negativity reset the reflection, prolonging the delay. The lesson: treat life as a mirror that gradually aligns with your chosen image. Stay consistent, patient, and detached. In time, the reflection will match the image you project. Chapter 19. The Gatekeeper to Eternity. In the final chapter, Zeland introduces the idea of eternity and the gatekeeper, the recognition that reality itself is infinite and endlessly flexible. The gatekeeper represents the boundary between ordinary perception and the awareness of infinite alternatives. The key to stepping through is intention. Not desire, not struggle, but calm, steady, confident intention. When you stop overloading outcomes with importance and stop battling with the world, you discover that reality is far more cooperative than you imagined. By aligning with balance, refusing to feed destructive pendulums, and maintaining unity of heart and mind, you begin to live in harmony with the alternative space. At this point, life ceases to feel like a battle and instead becomes an adventure of conscious choice. The gatekeeper isn't an external figure. It's your own awareness of infinite possibility. Zeland concludes with a reflection on ancient magicians, suggesting that the principles of transurfing were known long ago. The essence of magic, he argues, is not in rituals, but in mastering intention and aligning with the alternative space. Reality is strange, but once you learn the rules, it becomes surprisingly cooperative. So, what does reality transurfing teach us? That life isn't about constant struggle, nor about changing yourself into someone you're not. It's about understanding that every possibility already exists, and you have the right to choose the one you want. Stop battling reality. Stop inflating importance. Refuse to feed destructive pendulums. Instead, align with balance. Catch the wave of fortune, and let outer intention work in your favor. When you realize that reality is a mirror, you no longer fight with the reflection. You transform the image. That's the secret of transurfing, and perhaps the secret to living the life you've always wanted. If you enjoyed this summary and want more deep dives into life-changing books, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know in the comments what reality you'd choose if you knew you could.